Hello, everybody. We are back for our last day after show of the spring. We found a hermit in the mountains to come and join us today,
Jeez.
who has also happened to be the Fantasy Goose co-champion for this season. Hey, Brian, good to have you back.
Hey guys, man, long time no see.
Almost as long as your beard.
Hey,
This guy, yep,
oh man,
zinger.
I got jokes
today.
I got jokes. Well, how you guys doing? What's going on?
I'm doing fantastic. I mean, I'm on a little bit of a, I guess it's like a championship hangover. So yeah, I did a little celebrating last night, and just been kind of treating myself, properly after what was a grueling, long season. So yeah, it feels good to just be able to relax today, kind of bask in the glory a little bit. I've been getting a lot of messages from people all over, so yeah, it's been great.
When's the parade? I mean, that's what I want to know.
It's a good question. This is the type of thing that can make the local paper here. So if I talk to the right people,
it could get in there. Local resident wins co-championship.
Prestigious, yeah. Ties records, yep.
Co-championship. Well, we heard you were sending in your picks by carrier pigeon from your wilderness retreat cave that you've been in all tour, and so we're glad that those made it in, and that we're keeping the championship in the pod family.
Yeah, and that's important.
Yes, that is very important.
We can't lose sight of that.
No, we cannot lose to other people, and by we I mean you two.
And D, I mean.
Oh yes, and D,
and even Kev.
And especially Kev. Especially Kev. Well, we'll get into all that a little bit later in the episode, of course. Before we get started and before we bring on our guest to talk about last night's show, a quick word from our sponsor, who is Beekeepers Naturals. Powered by nature and obsessively tested, Beekeepers uses potent ingredients like propolis pollen and royal jelly and steers clear of added chemicals. In a day and age where we want to boost our immune system as much as possible, Beekeepers Naturals has many products from lozenges to gut health supplements to support us and tap into the magic of nature. Personally, I don't leave home without one of their propolis throat sprays, which is especially supportive when singing my heart out at a show. Use code STORMSOUND at checkout for 20% off your order at beekeepersnaturals.com. So, shall we bring on our guest and talk about the show?
I think we probably should do that.
All right. We have Mr. Ryan Legvold here today, the man with a beard that might be bigger than Brian's. I think it is.
It's
Who's the bigger beard?
I don't know.
It's less gray.
That's true.
Mine's less gray. I got a bit of gray in there too, but
Brian's is all gray.
Yeah,
Sure.
true.
He's old, Like,
oh, man.
Well, all right, Ryan, how are you doing?
I'm excellent, man. It's been a fun week, or a few days, whatever it's been. I can't even tell anymore.
Right, you're in New Orleans. You're having a good time. Saw a couple of shows. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
It is that Ryan.
That's me.
Yes,
we have that
Christmas
Ryan
Moby
with us.
dedication fame. All right. Well, let's talk a little bit about the vibe at the festival yesterday. We heard from the guys from Gray Street Pod yesterday about what the vibe was like on day one. But was it any different yesterday? Did you find, with the different acts playing in the afternoon leading up to Goose?
I mean, I got there pretty early yesterday, and it was it was the same vibe. It was really nice. The only negative, I'll get that out of the way, is this place is a long ways out of the way and not in a very nice neighborhood. But it's like every Uber driver we had were like, I was born and raised here and I've never came out here before. But other than that, no, it was good. It was a real chill crowd. Like, dancing on grass is, highly underrated. The two stages were really close to each other, so you could, a lot of the rail riders were just hanging up front at the main stage the whole time, but you could still watch the other stage from there. It was really nice. Yeah, somebody, God, I think his name was Sam on Twitter, gave me a free VIP So then we upgraded
Ooh.
my wife's and did the VIP thing yesterday, which was nice because we got a little bit of air condition and a little shade because it was pretty hot and sunny out there, especially for my pale northern ass, you know.
How's the beer?
Good, yeah, good. I had tried a few different ones. I was surprised they actually had a lot of beers from other breweries in there too, not just their own beer, but
Mm.
so it was a pretty wide selection. Food was really good. They had a bunch of food trucks. Had some char grilled oysters in the VIP area. It was pretty nice.
Mm.
Yeah, can't
Love it.
complain. Really good water station that was very easy, never a wait. Nice and cold. Because they like, I don't know, I heard something they have like the world's largest potable water retention thing there that they use for the brewery. So there's just like, they have these cans of water they're giving out too. It was pretty legit fest. Like once you're there and on site, it was really nice. I would highly recommend it to anyone. And the promoter said it's the only festival in the world that's on a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
I love it.
Which, yeah.
We have a great question from the chat here. You posted a picture with Joel from Umphreys yesterday, and people are wondering. Our other good friend Ryan Molnar is wondering: do you consider getting a pick with Joel or being on the same pod as Jive the better accomplishment over the last 24 hours?
That's pretty tough. Maybe a tie.
No. And we've done this before, so
Yeah,
this is old
that
news.
is true. That is true.
We've yeah. I mean, look. Actually, Ryan and I go back. I remember just chilling together. Oh man, what was that like? 2018. When were those Dylan shows? Oh, it wasn't that far back. But, yeah, we saw
Yeah.
some Goose together, and oh yeah.
For
So
sure.
yeah, so it's definitely Joel. I
Yeah,
say
okay.
Joel is then it's true. The answer is true.
All right.
To that one.
Joel hasn't ever won a Fantasy Goose championship, though. That's the thing.
True.
Here. Jesse, I would just like to say the other day you weren't here, but Neil specifically wore a T-shirt so you wouldn't be able to make this comment.
Yeah, it's true.
That did happen. So he did break the streak.
It's been a one-show gap since the last time I wore a T-shirt.
Yeah. What up, Jesse?
All right. Well, let's talk about this show last night. A bit of an interesting mix between very festival song selection and some really solid jamming. So let's talk about the beginning of this first set here, before the sit-ins, if you will. The Cali Magic lead up, Turn Clouds. Ryan, take us through it. How is it feeling?
Oh, it's feeling good. Yeah, I mean, Cali Magic, great opener, right? I really liked lead up in the second slot. I saw it in Chicago. I don't remember where it was, but it was I really liked having that lead up there. It didn't feel like it was very long, but they get right to the point on that song. That's definitely one of my faves of the new ones. And Turn Clouds, it's always great. Nothing crazy, but
It's good. Solid start to the first set, and there's not a bad lead up that is possible. Like it's just
it's a good song, man. I really like it.
Yeah, and it just keeps getting better. And I think playing this at the festival shows the band's confidence in this song. They know that this song is good, and they're going to keep playing it, which is awesome because we're going to see a lot of festivals soon. So I really like lead up, and I'm happy to know that they might be playing it at those festivals.
Yes,
for sure.
It's a good spot for it. I think California Magic lead up. Maybe go with something a little bit bigger, but I think lead up in the 2 spot, coming off of a nice opening jam is a good spot for it.
All right. You learned how to be concise in that cave. Wow. All right. Next up, we get our first sit-in of the night with No Rain. We had David Shaw on No Rain on the vocals. Kind of a rocky performance, felt like, from the couch. He came in a little early on the vocals. Didn't sound like super well practiced. But what did you think of it at the festival?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome. He's got a good voice. I'm not like super familiar with the Revivalists a little bit, but his set earlier in the day was really good. I was very impressed. He's a little more bluesy. I don't know if that's how the Revivalists are or not, but I thought he sang it really well. Had a lot of energy. He's a New Orleans guy, so you could tell the locals are excited to see him too. I think.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, I'm glad
But yeah,
it translated well in person.
I think once he settled in, it was actually pretty good. I mean, he does a hell of a Shannon Hoon, but the beginning was just so rough. It was confusing. Like he started way too early. Like I don't know if he could actually hear the instruments.
Mm-hmm.
And so it sounded like he was singing out of key because he was like kind of singing against the wrong chords. I don't know. It was not good. It sounded pretty bad.
Yeah, I guess I didn't catch that from there, but I had heard other people say that who were at home. So
I feel like it'd be way more difficult to come on stage as a guest and sing than to come on and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems like you got a little bit more freedom if you're coming out with your guitar to kind of like ease your way in and things like that. Coming out to sing lead vocals on something, and I mean, it's just on from the start. And so if shit's not dialed in, yeah, then it could be a little awkward. I actually haven't listened to this, so I don't know what happened,
You should check it out.
But yeah, it seems like that would be a little bit nerve-wracking to come on and sing.
Yeah, and this is not the first time this has happened. I can't remember the festival it was at, but the house musician was a singer.
Margot Price at Sacred Rose last year.
Yeah, Sacred Rose, and she came out hot too, singing way too early. So, I guess it happens. It's got to be really hard.
People get excited. There was some onstage communication there, but then after that, they go into Thatch, and I mean it's Thatch. They're playing it a lot. Kind of expected it to pop up again last night after the short repeats on night one of the festival. But it's Thatch and it fucks. Ryan?
Yes, it's Thatch and it fucks. That song keeps getting better too. Like every time. I don't know. There's never a bad Thatch.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much more to say about Thatch than we've already said. I think that
I'm interested to hear
on this podcast is always just like Thatch fucks and then we move on. Because it's, they don't really stand apart from each other. There are a couple.
It's not a negative.
Yeah, no, I love the song. It's amazing.
Yeah. I'm curious to hear Brian's thoughts though. We haven't really heard him talk much about it.
Yeah, I like Thatch.
There we go.
I was just looking at the set list, I kind of feel like Neil Francis should have been out.
For
Thatch. I mean, I guess maybe even the horns too, but I mean, everybody loves Thatch. It's honestly the Ryman Thatch is probably up there for me for most personal plays. If I could get that data from Nugs, to back that up, I would. But yeah, I mean, it's always a crusher. I mean, that's why they're playing it so much. You know what I mean? And I don't think, I mean, nobody cares that they're playing it so much. I mean, there's some other songs they're playing a lot that, I mean, personally, I might have some questions about, but I mean, never with Thatch. Nobody questions Thatch.
Right. Yeah. I have not seen a single complaint on the internet, I don't think, about this song at all. You
probably will now, but
right. I probably will now. Now that I've said it, I will.
Yeah.
But it's there. Then they bring out Neil Francis and the horn section, if you will. I didn't realize they were called the horn section, but formerly from Turquoise. Did I pronounce that right?
Good enough for me.
I think so.
All right, I'll take it. But for this Hot Tea, kind of started more like the album version, with the horn intro instead of the guitar. But man, this was awesome. First of all, a lot more clav on it than normal because Peter played clav, kind of like shoving in with Neil in the keyboard rig. Interesting that he decided not to play guitar with a guest on keys, but I will never complain about clav. Their little keyboard duel was fun, and the horns, ripped it up. Like this was like just so much fun and absolutely amazing. Ryan, what was this like in person?
Oh yeah, man, it was probably the highlight of the night. either that or Fish in the Sea maybe. But yeah, the horn section, I think they sat in with every band yesterday. They were like the kind of the artists on the
At
artists
large,
at
yeah.
large kind of thing, you know. What's that? I'm sorry. You broke
So
up.
yeah, artist at large. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they were sitting in with everybody. Neil and Peter looked like they were just having the time of their lives. Both of them were smiling. I mean, obviously Peter's always smiling, but
Right.
Neil was having fun. There was a point where, you know, Neil was playing the organ and the vintage vibe while Peter was playing the clav and the key and his piano at this. So it's like 4 keyboards going at the same time. The horns were great. I'm an old sax player, so I love horns. It was fun watching them. The trumpet player seemed to be in charge of the 3 of them, and he was giving them a lot of cues of when to just like hop in, because you could. I don't think they had a lot of rehearsal, but they still sounded really good. You know.
So that made him the artist at large in charge.
Ah.
I don't know if you caught this there, Ryan, but the other cool thing that was happening is Neil Francis was playing the organ with his left hand, and he was playing the vintage vibe with his right, and then Peter was hitting the Leslie switch as he was playing the clav.
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that part.
It was amazing. Like Peter just had to get that tone just right on the Leslie. So he's just like over there. At first, I thought he was like kind of slapping Neil Francis's hand away from the organ, like don't fucking play my organ, man. But then, you know, when we realized that he was actually just hitting that Leslie switch, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, Neil, this is what it sounds like when it's stuck in between fast and slow. It's really cool.
Yeah.
Did they? In the striped shirts. I mean,
coordinated and everything.
Yeah, like a couple of
man,
sailors
matching
over there playing their keys.
Similar color pant too.
Yeah.
So let me just say real quick. I don't always love hot tea. And in fact, I'm gonna start with the bad first. I rarely go back and re-listen to hot tea. I'm just gonna say that, right?
I thought you were gonna say you rarely enjoy.
But
hot
this is a really awesome version. I mean, obviously with the horns but you know, the OG kind of style with the horns is so cool. It felt like a little bit down tempo, maybe, I don't know, but and then with Neil and Peter doing their stuff, it just flows really well throughout all the changes and everybody taking their turns. Just really well done, and that's a really fun kind of dancey version that, you know, I'm gonna probably get some re-listens actually, which is odd for hot tea for me. And then somebody said in the chat, you know, best Goose than ever, maybe. I don't know if that was a question or true false, but then so that answer to that one's no. But then Jesse, the answer to that one is true. So yeah, I mean, Grippo, especially the Grippo Flea, to me, that's where the bar is set. This tea was incredible, and I think a really solid guest appearance. Everybody gelled.
Yeah,
it's just so, but it's fun, you know, and it's well executed. The Grippo Flea is an improvisational journey, you know, that's hugely successful. So anyway, I just wanted to address those comments.
Yeah,
did we forget about the tab horn Fish in the Sea? I mean, are we just discrediting that as a horn sit-in?
It's just not as good.
No, but it's not
as good as this.
Yeah.
I would say your point about them gelling really well is really good, because there is no way they had a ton of time to practice this. You know, like I don't know how far in advance they decided on the sit-in or what song they'd be playing. I'm sure it was far enough back that Neil and the horns could listen to Hot Tea and get kind of familiar with it, because it didn't sound like they were struggling with any of the changes or the licks or anything. But rehearsing it together as a band, you know, obviously they didn't do it at sound check, because we would have had leaks all over the internet of they just sound checked Hot Tea with horns and Neil Francis, huh? Like, you know, so it's really cool to hear that they probably like ran it backstage, like partially, right? And it sounded that good yesterday in front of an audience. So I'm like absolutely loved it.
I mean, those horns showed up prepared. Those guys were really, really
Yeah.
good.
Professionals.
And that one saxophone player was
The Barry or the tenor?
The tenor was just
Yeah.
outrageously good. It was like he'd been playing hot tea his whole life. I mean, it's so fucking good. And those guys killed it all day long. I caught the Eggy set that was before Goose, and they came out for Studio with them, and it was awesome there too. I loved it. So I mean, those guys were killing it all day long. The only bummer is that I feel like Neil Francis didn't want to step on Peter, and I wanted him to so bad. Like I just wanted him to go
Stomp
nuts
on the man.
yeah, just
Let loose.
just do it, man. Fuck it. But he didn't. He kind of took a back seat. Out of all the people who took a solo in that one, he seems kind of the most muted out of everybody, or most reserved, I guess is the best word.
Well, I'm hoping Neil Francis sits in again at some point because I would love to see that happen.
Big Neil Francis fan.
Me too. Hard not to be.
I'm just a big Neil fan in general.
I mean, how can you not be fans of people who spell their name the correct way? People named Neil who spell their name the correct way. There's only a few of us, and all of them are great to sing.
There we go.
Oh, what was the? I forgot to ask earlier. What was the show gap on that lead up?
We're not doing this. We can do this on the tour recap episode once we're 2.5 hours in.
I didn't mean to touch a nerve.
We're not doing this. We're not
as being on short rest.
I purposely didn't want to bring it up because I purposely do not want to get into another argument
So
about
one show
it.
gap?
So we are not.
One show gap, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about Set Break. What was the vibe like at Set Break? Going into the last set of the festival, were people talking about their plans for later in the night or the rest of the week, or were people just focused on what are we getting for set 2?
Sorry, my connection's bad, but I think you're asking about Set Break.
I am.
But yeah,
I was.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I went to the VIP bathrooms at Set Break, which was really nice. Got a blast of air conditioning, indoor nice. Bathrooms. I know Neil wants to hear about the bathrooms.
I do have a
the
question.
Toilet I went to had a leaky pipe and a bucket catching all the water coming out of it. But they were nice and clean and smelled good. The Porta Johns had a very long line, but my wife said they smelled like cinnamon the first day. So I guess that's kind of cool. I think I only went once the first day, so I don't really remember. But yeah, it was like I said, it was a real chill crowd. So it was like easy to walk out, go get some water, get a drink, whatever. It was very convenient, and then also very easy to get back to your spot. It was super chill. The most chill crowd I've been around for a while. But then again, not everyone was there for Goose, which was obvious because there were a few more chompers than usual, but not too bad.
Well, thank you, Tyler, for letting us know. The Borfs for night 1 are up on Bandcamp, which means night 2 will probably be following shortly. I'm excited to go revisit that tumble when we hop off here after we're done. But all right, let's talk about this second set here. Let's start off with this Hunger Site, the improvisational centerpiece of the night. We Hunger Site is kind of settling into kind of this, this Rosewood-like jam structure where we have the first jam and we have the second jam. So the first part is like this blazing, driving, hot guitar solo that is just like awesome. And then the second jam, they go elsewhere. Last night, as it's been the last few, got into this really beautiful major key space for a few minutes. Really nice jam, and the last few Hunger Sites have been great. I think it's been jamming very, very well this tour. But Ryan, what did you think of it?
Yeah, it was good. How do you know how long it was? I'm just curious. 20-ish. Sorry, my connection is so bad. I can't hear you.
It's okay. I think it was 20 or so.
Okay. Yeah, I was pretty locked in at this point. Like, I'm not sure I've had enough time to reflect, but in the moment, it was pretty amazing. I know when it was over, I asked my wife because we were at Chicago too, which probably is the goat hunger site. I don't know. And I was like, God, I wonder if we just saw like the two best hunger sites. It felt like at the moment, but
Well,
that might be a hasty rank too.
Don't insult Brian's beloved Philly hunger site like
There's
that, okay?
so
He
many
might
good
he
hunger
might get a
sites.
little bit defensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's okay.
It is. It's totally okay. We are all entitled to our opinions.
Oh, I think he was saying that the Philly hunger site is okay. Like, not that it's okay to have opinions.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, if that's his opinion, then it's okay. If that's,
Oh man.
It's no salt shed hunger site. That's all I know.
Well, Brian, what
Yeah,
did you think of
probably
this
not,
hunger
but
site?
it was good. It was
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
good. And it kind of did that thing that I think happens in festival sets sometimes when they're really cooking and they're just like, all right, time to finish. And it felt like a really abrupt ending. It was kind of a bummer, but it was still really good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Brian, you got any thoughts on it?
so I haven't made it all the way through the entire show. I did start the hunger site. I'm in catch up mode right now. My apologies. I haven't heard anything from night one. So I know there's a couple things that I'm excited to check out there. But yeah, look, here's what I'll say. Hunger site is, I kind of feel like it's becoming one of their just go-to, big songs. We're seeing a lot more hunger site than we are, especially in the kind of the set 2 opener slot. Probably twice as many hunger sites opening up set 2s than Wisteria's so far this year. So, and that's great, because that means they love to play it, and obviously
Which we know.
and they're taking them. It feels like every hunger site is a minimum of 18 or 19 minutes, right? So they're having fun with it, taking it out there every time. So yeah, I love it. I mean, I just think it's a fantastic song. So, it's like this idea. It's like the idea that Rick was just talking about in this guitar player interview that just came out, where he's talking about like, the improvisational element to a song, or the jam, if you will, is really, it's a way to extend a song that you like, you know what I mean? And a way to accompany that song, or, augment that song with all that stuff. So I mean, I'll put all those things together, and yeah, they love it. The crowd loves it. The fans love it. So yeah, keep hammering it down in that set 2 opener slot. And yeah, keep bringing the big jams with it. They're not. I kind of feel like, if I had to take take some of those accolades down a notch, I would say that
If you had to.
it's not quite like slugging percentage wise. I wouldn't say it's up there with a few other things, but that's no big deal. You know what I mean? So yeah, love it there. And then yeah, Feel It Now. So obviously, Lead Up and Feel
Speaking
It Now.
of great songs.
Yeah, so Lead Up and Feel It Now coming together a lot in shows. Yeah, both two really awesome new songs. And yeah, I thought this might be coming. It was actually one of my late pulls from my list, which ended up kind of fucking me a little bit. But
could have made the difference.
Yeah. But again, yeah, you just like a lot of confidence in these new songs. Love to see it.
Yeah. And, Feel It Now is that firmly entrenched in that like second set banger slot. It's so good. It's always in the second set now, which is just awesome, Yeah. And Poor Not Alone makes me sad.
Right. Yeah, Ryan, what did you think of Feel It Now? Was the crowd digging it? Were they feeling
Oh
it?
yeah, man, loved it. It's I mean, that's a real good dancer. I mean, it definitely got the energy going. My wife and I love that song. We were dancing hard. Loved it. Vibes were high in my area for sure.
Awesome.
Nice.
And then And then we get Fish in the Sea with horns. Second version of this with horns. Really excited to see this pop up finally. I think it was on a set list or two and got sound checked earlier in the tour, like a couple of shows ago, and didn't make it in. So happy to see this one show up and with horns. And once again, yes, you guys mentioned like really, really well practiced the horn parts. Like they were ready for this song, which is awesome because I don't know how big Fat Freddy's drop is or how well known this song would be to a horn section. And so hearing how well prepared they were to play it and just like ripping along with the band, this was an awesome version. But Ryan, what was this like in person?
Yeah, I loved it. I don't know if you saw that written set list, but it said Mr. Action and then like question marks, fish in the sea. So like I think
if they were ready.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was kind of like, if you want to do it and think you can, we'll do it. Otherwise, we'll play Mr. Action instead. But I'm really glad we got that. I love Fish in the Sea. I love horns. One of my favorite songs from last year was definitely the Fish in the Sea with the tab horns, and also one of my wife's personal favorites. She's not the biggest Trey fan, so that was her favorite thing from the tab tour by miles. So she was super excited, which also made me excited.
Brian, would you say you wished that the horns had been a little bit less prepared to play Fish in the Sea last night?
Well, here's the thing, right? If I kind of feel like if Hot Tea would have been a train wreck, then maybe they don't come out for Fish in the Sea, right? So yeah, I mean, you win some, you lose some. I worry about the crew a little bit. You know what I mean? Because it's like, it's like your love song. It's like if the band's like, it's like what if Rick's girlfriend came to the show and he wrote this song about her and then he puts it on the set list, but then doesn't play it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want anybody's feelings to be hurt. You know what I mean? So, so yeah, I kind of feel like they should have dropped Mr. Action in there anyway. You know what I mean? Or the Drip Field would have been another way to, I think, thank everybody for the great job that they did. This tour. You know what I mean? Because it's a grueling tour. You know, I'm talking about the crew. A lot of work goes into that stuff. So. I just wanted to give them a shout out since they didn't get their Mr. Action. And
they did get a shout out though, and
they got a little bit of a shout out, yeah. But I mean, you don't want to. You just hate to see that get on the written set list and then pulled like that. You know what I mean? So hopefully they're all feeling all right today.
And you would feel this way even if Mr. Action wasn't your one pointer last night.
I mean, I just I totally would, yeah, because I mean, I know, yeah. I feel like some of these crew members are almost like friends to me. You know what I mean? So, so again, it's more just about, I just worry about other people's feelings. That's all.
We have fun on this podcast. Neil, what did you think of the Fish in the Sea?
I mean, it's Fish in the Sea. It's great. And then you add horns and it's awesome. And they did a really, really good job. So there's not much more to say, man. It's an awesome song.
Awesome. And then we get Silver Rising and Empress to close out the show. There was a big moment of truth at the end of Silver Rising while we waited for the last song. We were all keeping an eye on the fantasy scores, checking to see if it was going to be a tie or if Brian was going to win. And we needed no coordination in our group chat because we thought he was still at pickleball to immediately get all excited and tell him that they played Mr. Action. Unfortunately, we were dismayed to learn that he had made it home and had turned on the stream.
Yeah, see, that would have been mean. See, like talking about people's feelings, you know what I mean? Like,
Neil, people want to know your Empress thoughts.
What did I think of Empress? I thought it was going to be Madavon. That's what I thought, and then it was Empress, and I was sad. But, what are you going to do?
Yeah. What did you think, Ryan, of these last two?
Oh man, well. Yeah, I guess I wasn't expecting either of those really. But Silver Rising's a great song. Again, kind of the same every time, but that's cool. Good song for a lot of new people, And Empress is a great way to end it. I mean, it's super upbeat. Everyone's clapping, jumping up and down. I think maybe wouldn't have been my choice personally, but I think it was a really good choice for the crowd and everything.
What would have been your choice right there?
No, I don't know. Maybe Madhavan or Arcadia. I mean, for me, but I think it was the right choice.
Dripfield for Brian.
Yeah,
sure.
Mr. Action, maybe.
Yeah.
So, what's interesting about Silver Rising is they actually do drop that in festival sets, almost always. So, if last night wasn't the last night of Fantasy, because I probably would have thought a lot harder on having something like Silver Rising in there, because they love to play that in these types of situations. So,
well, night one did not feel anything like a festival set at all to me. Like, it just felt like a regular Goose set. It did not seem like your standard festival set. Not that night two was. It was just different. But so I was thinking of it much more in lines of just a normal Goose show.
Yeah, I thought night two was way more. Sorry, go ahead, Ryan.
No, all the sit-ins kind of threw a wrench in everything, I think, too, for predictability. Right. Not that it's that predictable, but
Yeah. No, I think you're right. Night one didn't strike me as a festival set much at all, but I thought last night did. But some of that goes into kind of like, that's almost more. I feel like last night is almost more of a tour closer than San Diego was. But definitely. Those were both a little bit tour closey-ish. But then they're both also a little bit festy-ish too. That San Diego, I think, was a little bit of a festy kind of atmosphere as well. So, interesting way to and they've done this before too, like with Austin City Limits last year, right? Where it's like, I don't know, what somewhere else in Texas was kind of like the tour closer, Dallas. but it didn't really feel like a tour close. So sometimes they have these long tours, and then the way they end, it's like, you're not getting that big exclamation point opportunity. You end up in like these last three shows where certainly good shows or whatever, but you know what I mean, you don't get that tour closer kind of mentality, it feels like.
Interesting point. Yeah, I'm curious to see also how they approach. They have a couple other 2-set festival appearances coming up. Summer Camp is 2 sets for them as well. And so is Peach. So I'm curious to see how they approach those as opposed to their 1-set festival appearances that they also have a ton of coming up. If we're going to see something more like night one, where it still feels like a Goose show because it's 2 sets and not like they're trying to cram a bunch of things into 1 set. Right. So
I don't know. I feel like it's still going to be way more on the kind of banger heavy side, especially for those bigger jam band festivals. You know what I mean? I don't think you'll see even what we saw the last couple of nights. I think
last year at Peach, there was a 28-minute arrow. So
there you go. Yeah, I'm not saying no jams, but 28-minute arrow. Yeah, we all remember that.
Pretty good tumble.
Well, pretty good tumble.
It's okay.
Oh, man.
It's good. It's good. Well, Ryan, I also we want to hear about you went to the Days Between band late night after the show last night. Rick and Peter sitting in on a bunch of tunes. Want to hear about that? What was that like?
Well, that was phenomenal, man. That was the highlight of the trip so far. Probably gonna be tough to beat. I've never been down here, so like, it was just like classic New Orleans kind of a vibe. Just Tipitina's is a cool venue. It was definitely packed, hot, sweaty. It started off with Tony Hall on bass, and no Rick and Peter at first. Jen doing some singing, some trumpet. Ryan, it's Ryan, the sax player from Lettuce, right? I think his name is
Ryan. Anyway, Ryan Storm.
Yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, you would think us Ryans would know.
I know that Nigel Hall plays keys and Adam Deitch plays drums. That's all I know.
Yeah,
how do you even have a Lettuce podcast without knowing all their names?
but anyway,
Oh,
yeah. So it was all those guys, Krasno on guitar. Those guys started out, and then George Porter came up and played bass. Tony Hall moved over to rhythm guitar, and a lot of funk. God, I wish I could remember more of the songs, but it was very, very funky set. And then Rick and Peter came out and they played. At first, Peter was kind of snuggled up with Neville on the keys there, and then he moved over to rhythm, and then he went back to the keys. So Peter kind of moved around a little bit, and like they played "Don't Do It." There was a really awesome Ramble On where Jen and Tony Hall were singing, and Jen just killed it. That woman can sing. They
I saw her do
played.
Dazed and Confused with Tab once. It was awesome.
Nice. Yeah, what else did they play? I know they closed with Love Light. There was a Use Me in there. So
Yes.
Rick sang on like Use Me, Rick sang on Love Light. It was just
Maker.
like, yeah, the Maker. That was good. Rick had a really nice little solo in there. My phone was completely dead, or I would have tried to take a few videos, but like it was dead, done for. I got a couple pictures and that was about it. But yeah, that was super fun, man. What a cool vibe. Plus, hung out with a bunch of Goose people, Bree and Noah and Lucas and Leslie, her husband, Josh. I don't know. A bunch of us were all hanging together. So that was a lot of fun sharing a little dance space in a very tight room.
Love it.
But
we have a
it was
question.
just a blast.
Was Dreams Allman or Fleetwood?
Allman?
You say that with a question mark?
Yeah, were you there?
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, it wasn't Fleetwood, so if it was played, it was Allman.
Okay, awesome. There you go. Awesome. All right. Well, you guys got any? Oh, we have to do our Fantasy Goose proper wrap up. Brian, would you like to lead that?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah, I got nothing prepared except these 4 pages.
Yeah. So, so listen, I feel like we have to start with a shout out to Chris Newcomb. Big round of applause. Great job by him. And because we kind of talked a little about this earlier, but in the Fantasy Goose Tour era, I believe this is the 8th tour. Although Taboos, I mean, I don't know. I'm not sure how that one snuck in there as a tour, but so out of those 8 tours, Chris is the first non-AAT winner. So co-winner, of course, in this case, but champion nonetheless. You know what I mean? Like a champion's a champion. I think we all agree.
Your name is first on the standings list, so.
I don't know what I think you just have to look at the data, and it goes further than just total points, but that's neither here nor there. Co-champions for life. Great job. And as a matter of fact, I think Chris, I think Chris actually had the lead for a show or two at one point, kind of midway through the tour. So I mean, he was up there, just competing throughout the whole tour. Kind of maybe even fell off a little bit, and then he just smoked it the last.
I was going to say, you had like a 20-point lead at one point, didn't you? Like, you kind of blew it.
I don't think it was 20 points. You
had a lead.
But anyway, so otherwise, previously, Neil, D, and myself, all Potters were, kind of had all those trophies. So great job by Chris. And we knew that was going to happen. I mean, there's so many players out there, some really good players. And not just this tour, but tour after tour, lots more people getting involved, and it's just fun. I mean, everybody's having a good time. Mm-hmm. Kevin has the most fun,
obviously.
But so it just a really fun tour again. I'll be looking forward to defending, the title again. And just see how competitive it continues to be, because even historically good players, some historically good players, I mean, performed, lower than they ever have. I'm not going to name names or anything because I don't want to like do that. That's not my
Shout
style.
out to Lenny.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Lenny.
you may not have seen this on Mastodon, but I did post kind of my retirement message last night.
Yeah, retirement. Okay.
So, like Mike Tyson at the end of his career, when he lost to Kevin McBride, they interviewed him and he said, I won't disrespect this sport any longer by losing to this type of player. So
are you talking about all 12 that finished above you, or are you singling me out?
Just Ryan Storm, really.
Just Ryan.
I beat you on a whole bunch of tours now, Neil.
You have never. You've never beaten
I
me.
beat you last fall, actually.
Untrue. I refuse to believe it.
The data don't
in any
lie.
case, yeah, man, I did really bad this season, and I'm thinking back to why that is the case, and I honestly don't have an explanation because I did the same exact strategy I always do.
Well, the band
and I did hit like a dozen more songs than Ryan somehow, and still lost.
No, you didn't. A dozen.
In any case,
I think you.
Neil,
I think you
just
hit
one
it,
more song than me.
So I think you just hit the nail on the head when you said you don't know what happened. You're using the same strategy. I mean, I think the greatest players evolve their strategies over time
oh my god,
because look, but seriously, hear me out. The repertoire changes.
I love this podcast.
Right?
Yep.
So you gotta make different moves. You know what I mean? You gotta survey the landscape of gappers. There's a lot of ways to look at gaps, for instance. You know what I mean? So
one show, two show, who knows?
Yeah. So sometimes you just got to update the spreadsheet a little bit, and maybe just your mental approach and your preparedness and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you were a little distracted. Maybe you felt more pressure. I don't know.
You know what? Kidding aside, it was like the first 5 shows of the year. I just did terrible, and I never recovered. Ever.
Sometimes it happens. I'd like to give a shout out to Garrett, Vickers, and Jeff, who I leapfrogged over because of Empress last night under the wire to make my way into the top 5.
So you're giving them a shout?
I'm giving them a shout out for letting me leapfrog them to get.
It was a poorly disguised pat on his own back.
Yes,
which Ryan
there wasn't much
does
of a
pretty much every
Neil,
show.
Don't pretend that when you if you win that you don't also pat yourself on the back extensively, because you do, and that's
I'm a humble winner.
No, you're not.
That's all I've ever been.
No, you were not. You're in 13th now. Enjoy 13th.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens next season.
Yeah, I think the only way to get a pat on the back on this pod is to give it to yourself, because you guys aren't giving anyone a pat on the back.
Oh man,
it seems that welcome to my world with these guys. All the congratulatory messages I got, nothing from these guys. You know what I mean?
What are you talking about?
Kev,
we were congratulating you.
Kev, sent me a nice message. Just telling me how much he appreciates just the effort that I put in, and how much he's learned from me kind of over the years.
Get you a Billy Strings vinyl for your win?
Yeah, I hope so. He's probably got 4 of each.
He does have 4 of each. So.
All right, well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on today. This has been a very fun episode.
Thanks, guys.
We are looking forward to enjoying these few weeks off before festival season starts up in earnest with summer camp at the end of the month. Of course, we will have a very, very, very long tour recap episode for you coming out before summer camp. Of course,
with more, we'll take a deeper dive into the Fantasy Goose.
Oh yes, you can be sure of that.
And the numbers,
and we have like 15
and Ryan
shows to talk about.
We'll get their data together, and we'll settle that. We'll settle that disagreement.
Oh boy, it's going to be a good episode. 15 shows or something to talk about, which means it's going to be like 7 hours long. So look forward to that. It's going
to even the jams alone from this tour, I think are gonna fill a pod. I mean, it's a lot of really great stuff. I'm excited to talk about that stuff actually, because I haven't been on any of the day after shows this tour, so. I've been saving up all these thoughts and taking notes, and yeah, just ready to dive into that with you guys.
Yeah, my playlist is 16 hours right now.
How many tracks?
Oh boy, I don't know off the top of my head.
I have
like
40 something on mine right
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
Yep.
And I heard a rumor that there might be the return of all 5 AAT hosts in one episode, which we haven't had in a few months. So it's going to be a good episode.
I'm at 18 and a half hours on mine, but I've got there's a lot of
We're
songs
still
that are
on a
just kind of
live
being held there
podcast
right
here.
now. Yeah, I need to clean it up a little bit, but I like having those. Even though a jam might not make the top 64, and we don't want to digress too much on this, but I like to keep it on there though because I still want to revisit that, and I like having that one place to go for all that stuff. So I don't know.
Right.
I might just let it keep growing.
When you get to Brian's age, it's hard to go and find jams in other places.
It's really hard.
You have to put it in one playlist. So
yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Things happen. Well, Ryan, thank you so much for being on again today. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you once again. Of course, go enjoy the rest of your time in New Orleans. Have a great time.
Thank you.
Don't let the city
Thanks for
win.
having me.
Yeah. Great to see you again. Ryan. Enjoy the rest
You
of your
too.
trip.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats on your co-championship.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you to all of you for tuning in to these day after shows for this very long spring tour. It's been a lot of fun doing these every day. We've had some amazing guests. We've had some amazing episodes. There's a lot to talk about, and I can't wait to revisit it all soon. Of course, as always, let us know your favorite parts of last night's show and what your big takeaways from the tour, I guess. Start thinking about those for our mail sack, which, of course, we will post about next week before we record the pod. So keep a lookout for that.
I'll post it on Mastodon. There's a couple people over there. I don't know if either of them are going to have a comment or a question, but
yeah. All right. Well, that's all for today's episode of Day After Show. Thank you all so much, and we will see you in a few